Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the RG Media's weekly NFL show. This is our third episode, obviously, where we talk about the biggest NFL topics and show you exclusive interviews that you can only catch here, where you can follow us at the RG Media 1 on YouTube. So this time around, we're gonna mix things up. I just did an interview with Tetairoa McMillan of the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, he was the number 8 overall pick in the draft this year, the top wide receiver alongside Travis Hunter in this year's draft. There's high expectations for this kid, understandably so. He's big, man. He's 6'4", 225 pounds, already one of the biggest receivers in the league. There's high expectations because he's teaming up with Bryce Young. These are two kids that face off against each other in Southern Cal in high school. So McMillan is very familiar with Young, and Young is very familiar with McMillan. There is profound respect there. Both players have complimented each other already early on in Carolina Panthers OTAs. So you already know that they're getting along well off the field, and I would expect them to get along very well on the field this year. Obviously, Bryce Young finished out the season strong last year in his second year after initially being benched early on in the season. He showed improvements everywhere. Took less sacks, turned the ball over less, got the ball out quicker, won 4 games, went 4-8, and a lot of people forget he actually had, 4 game-winning drives last season. So Bryce Young definitely improved, and then obviously T-Mac figures to be his new number 1 target and wide receiver. So with that being said, I want to lead you guys into my interview with T-Mac, where he discusses a lot of interesting topics. The most notable being his familiarity with Bryce Young and how he thinks very highly of Bryce, considering Bryce has always been the top player, the best player, wherever he's been at all levels, whether that was in high school, whether that was at Alabama, whether that was when he was the number 1 overall pick in the draft a couple of years ago. He also talks about some other notable things, like teaming up with Adam Thielen, the oldest wide receiver in the league, and how he's looking forward to stealing some wisdom and getting some knowledge from Adam Thielen. And he also talks about some of his objectives for his rookie season. Check it out, guys. Let's segue to some Carolina Panthers topics, man. I know it's the beginning of your NFL career. You went through rookie minicamp. Detail that experience.
It was a blessing. I would definitely say it was probably the first time where me being in the league felt real. Obviously, going onto the field, putting my cleats on, and putting that jersey, that Carolina jersey on. Um, Man, it was a blessing, and I'm looking forward to many more practices. Obviously, we in OTAs now, so just being able to build chemistry with my teammates, with the coaches, and just building those relationships, man. And I'm looking forward to many more in the future.
Yeah, man. Detail that draft night experience. I mean, you were pretty emotional. Kind of talk about that when your name was when you heard your name called.
Man, I mean, it's a dream come true. Um, not too many people get to experience that, so it was definitely a blessing. It was just a good moment for me and my family and my friends to experience. So, um, at the end of the day, it's not about me though. It's about the people that have invested in me, and have helped me to be the person I am and the player I am. So, uh, the credit all goes to them, man, and just kudos to them for making me who I am.
Yeah, man. I've noticed from watching you're a pretty confident dude. Have you always been like that, like throughout your athletic career?
Confident as far as what you mean?
It's just there's this kind of laid back, kind of confident vibe surrounding you. I don't know. I don't know if you've noticed that. I don't know if anybody's ever said that about you, but not everybody has that. Not every athlete surprisingly has that.
Okay. Uh, uh, I don't know. I feel like the confidence thing, is probably from my family. They've taught me a lot. And I mean, to be honest with you, my whole life up until now, I've been humbled. Obviously having older siblings, I was always the youngest, just getting beat up by all my sisters, my brothers. So I feel like they definitely helped me in that aspect as far as, just knowing what to expect. There's probably not much that I can experience that I haven't already. So just me being confident in that part, just having that kind of swagger, I guess you would say, just carrying myself in a confident but humble manner. That's a big testament to my upbringing and my family. So shout out to them.
Okay, man. Well said. I'm sure you know who Puka Nacua is. So I actually talked to him right before the draft, and he had some great things to say about you. Because I asked him, "Hey, which receiver from the draft do you think is gonna, be the best, or who you looking forward to the most?" And he said your name. And
Mhm.
obviously, you guys are both wide receivers. You both come from a Polynesian background. Thoughts on Puka Nacua? Like, did you kind of mold your game after? Because you're both kind of big receivers. You know what I mean? Uh, have you spoken to him before?
Yeah, I've spoken to him before. But I mean, that's obviously a huge compliment, just him saying that. But I mean, shoot, to be honest with you, outside of Amon, he was the best receiver I've ever seen play in my life, and with my own eyes at least. I was fortunate enough to go to one of his high school games where he had he had 317 yards with like 4 or 5 touchdowns. So, um, yeah, he's definitely one of the best players I've ever seen with my own two eyes, man. And obviously, that never stopped, that never changed. He's one of the best receivers in this league now, and he's putting on for our Polynesian people, man. And there's not too many receivers. Polynesians we don't really play skill positions. If it was a skill position, it would be quarterback. So, me just him, just being able to be that role model for us, that pioneer for us, man. It's a blessing, man. And I'm so excited to see what the future holds for him, bro. And um, I'm looking forward to. I believe we play him this year, so I'm looking forward to seeing him on the field.
I'm looking forward to seeing that too. You bring up about Puka being a role model. Are there any other receivers that you grew up watching where that's where you molded your game from? You're like, man, I really like that guy.
There's nobody that I really modeled my game after or tried to be like, but one dude that my favorite football player of all time is Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay, that makes sense. You guys are about the same size. I mean, you're about 6'4", he was about 6'3", so you're both big receivers.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, man. Uh, like you said, you're going through OTAs right now. You're meeting a lot of the Carolina Panthers players, the head coach Dave Canales. Any notable conversations with Canales yet? And Adam Thielen, he's obviously the veteran receiver there.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, man, it's been a blessing just having Adam in the room. He's the oldest receiver in the league. Literally, like literally, yeah. He's the oldest receiver in the league. Just having that vet in our room, not only helps me, but all the other young guys in this room, man. And he has years of experience that we don't have. So, any chance that I get to steal any wisdom, any knowledge that he has for me, man, I'm gonna do it because it's only gonna make me a better player. So, I'm super fortunate to have Adam in my room for sure.
Yeah, Adam, he had great things to say about you, spoke very highly of you. Something that's interesting to me, though, about the Panthers receivers. You guys got a bunch of big receivers, man, like Jalen Coger, 6'3", Xavier Leggett is 6'3". Like, have you ever been in such a big wide receiver room? Because usually it's not like that.
Yeah, I was about to say it's usually not the receiver room is not like that. Kind of but we also have, we have a happy medium. We have a lot of smaller guys that can, shifty, that can blaze past you, that can do all these crafty, all these good routes and get crafty and have a little savviness, have a little swag to them. We also have Hunter Renfro in here, which is a good addition for us, man. Just I mean, he's the first guy where I've seen the things that you see on social media, those routes and this, that, and the third, he does exactly that in practice. So it's like, man, wow, like you really that guy. Um, and obviously Adam Thielen, Xavier. There's a lot of dudes in this room that I'll definitely be stealing some moves from them. Don't worry, I got it.
Yeah, man, I'm sure you will. I mean, you brought up a lot of notable names. Probably the most notable name, though, the face of the franchise, Bryce Young, the quarterback. Early thoughts on him? Have you had any, in-depth conversations with your quarterback?
Um, yeah, man. I mean, we can talk regular, outside the ball. We can just talk regular, normal people stuff, just about life, stuff like that. But man, sky's the limit for him, man. I've been fortunate enough to see him play since he was in youth ball. He's literally been the best player on his team every single year since youth. So, I have no doubt that this dude is gonna light it up, and I'm hoping that, I can be that addition for him. That I can help him be to where I know he can be, and who I know he can be. Um, so man, I'm super excited to see what the future holds for him, man, and sky's the limit for this offense for sure.
Yeah, man, you having known Bryce for a number of years, what's his best trait in your opinion?
Ooh. Uh, I would say his humility for sure. He's not like this rah guy. Um, he's not the dude that the media talks about a lot. Um, but man, we're looking at a dude that's been the best player, like I said, the best player on his team for every year. He was the best player in eighth grade. He went to modern day the best team in the country, and he graduated the best player in the country, literally the number one player in the country. He went to Alabama, won the Heisman. Went number one overall in the NFL draft. I mean, bro, you look at his resume, it's ridiculous. Like there's not too many people that has the same resume as him. So, um, man, but at the end of the day, he always stays true to himself. He never switch up. He always be this humble guy. Um, but uh, but don't let it fool you, man. He that boy can play.
I hear you, man. I've seen it. I want to ask you a fun question. Any defensive backs you're looking forward to matching up against and scoring a touchdown on?
Come on, man. That's easy. JC Horn.
JC Horn.
Yeah,
Okay. Any reason why?
just because he's on my team. And I know, I know that um, he's one of the best corners in the league, man. And I know that me going against him every day, um, or like him just giving me his best every day is only going to prepare me for everything that's going to get thrown at me in the season. I feel like JC is one of those guys that can do it all, and I'm not going to be surprised coming into the season just getting something different because I'm playing against it every day in practice. So that matchup I'm definitely looking forward to for sure.
Well said, T-Mac. I got one more question for you before we wrap things up. Any rookie season objectives?
Mhm. You know what, man? Whatever God has in store for me, I'm with it. But I'm just looking forward to um, making this team better. Um, just trying to learn the playbook, trying to build chemistry, trying to build a relationship with the people in the building, my teammates, my coaches. Um, at the end of the day, we want to win games. So that's my main goal right now. And whatever comes with it, is a win-win situation, man. And I'm just excited to see what the future holds.
So as you can see there in that interview, great interview by T-Mac, so much personality, infectious smile. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to win over a lot of his teammates very early on. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to have a heck of an impact in his rookie season. I guess the question is, okay, Carolina Panthers, how do they figure into the NFL picture entering the 2025 season? I don't think anybody's expecting this team to win a Super Bowl. They're taking baby steps. There's a lot of talent on offense. I mean, like I said before, you saw the improvement with Bryce Young. You see how they're clearly just trying to stockpile as many weapons as possible for Bryce, adding in T-Mac. Guys, they have like four core receivers that are at least 6'2". Adam Thielen, obviously the veteran receiver. They got Jalen Coker. They got Xavier Legette, the first round pick from last year, who could still become something. I know a lot of people were disappointed by his rookie year, but it's only 1 year. He's entering his second year. Maybe he can still be something. So you look at that core along with Hunter Renfrow, they added in. Don't forget, a former Pro Bowl receiver with the Las Vegas Raiders. And you're looking at kind of like a sleeper wide receiver core right there. I mean, I'm not going to say that they're the best wide receiver core in the NFL, but I'm saying they could very well be among the best if everybody's healthy, if everybody lives up to their potential. Obviously, that's a big if. But there's no doubt there's a concerted effort by the Panthers and general manager Dan Morgan to make things as easy as possible for Bryce Young as he enters a pivotal third year in the NFL. Now, as far as expectations are concerned for the Carolina Panthers, let's be honest, there's a reason why betting odds Vegas, they had the Panthers pegged at an over-under of 6.5 wins. That's actually one of the lowest totals in the league, and not very surprising considering they only won 5 games last season. And they actually have a higher over-under win total, only more than 5 teams. There's only one team in the NFC South that has a lower total, that would be the New Orleans Saints. So as far as my expectations are concerned for the Carolina Panthers, you have to remember this. I don't think the offense is the problem. The offense obviously needs to improve. They were 23rd in points per game last season. But they did show some bright spots, including their 44-point effort in Week 18 against an Atlanta Falcons team that's playing for a playoff spot. So obviously, like I said, they got better as the season progressed, as Bryce Young progressed, as he got the ball out quicker. The issue is the defense. Defense, worst in the NFL last season. It's really not even an argument. They were dead last in points allowed, rushing defense, rushing yards per attempt allowed, and passing TDs allowed. They made some efforts in the draft to address defense, to address edge rusher. I don't know if they've done enough in the offseason to really markedly improve that defense. But if that defense shows any sort of improvement to help complement Bryce Young and the offense, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this Panthers team finished right around 500. Am I saying that they will? I'm not going to definitively say that they will. I'm saying that if the defense does improve, they can't finish dead last in the NFL like they did last season in all those categories. They improve. They even show that they're an average defense. Yeah, there's no doubt in this weak division. I mean, those should be 2 wins against the Saints, honestly, if they're going to go with their young and inexperienced quarterbacks. Okay, Carolina could very well finish with around 8 wins this season. But again, like I said earlier, this season isn't necessarily about winning a Super Bowl for the Panthers. Like I said, nobody's expecting that. No offense to Carolina Panthers fans. It's all about market. It's all about improvement. Continuing to get better. They got better last year under first-year head coach Dave Canales. I will mention about Dave Canales. He's also from Southern Cal, just like T-Mac, just like Bryce Young. So there's a connection there. They all get along well. T-Mac's really looking forward to playing with Dave Canales, for Dave Canales. And I will say this about Dave Canales. Man, he knows how to coach quarterbacks. He knows how to coach offense. Don't forget, okay? Yes, it's true that he coached Russell Wilson in Seattle, but he also was the guy who coached Geno Smith during his comeback player of the year, Pro Bowl breakout year in 2022. Okay, in 2022. And he's also the guy that coached Baker Mayfield to his first Pro Bowl bid in 2023. So this is a guy that knows how to coach quarterbacks. He knows how to coach offense. I expect the Panthers to improve this season. I expect T-Mac to very well be in the Rookie of the Year race and be one of the top rookies. Heck, don't be surprised, guys, if he threatens 1,000 yards in his first season. So definitely looking forward to how this Carolina Panthers team plays this season, especially with T-Mac in the fold. But expect, like I said, expect this team to be better this season than they were last year. And now I want to tackle everyone's favorite topic, and that's Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, the whole situation right now is Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The idea of Rodgers going to the New Orleans Saints has been ruled out. Doesn't seem to be really any interest from both sides. Like I had talked about a couple weeks prior during our first episode, so that's a no-go. So the only sort of logical situation where we could see Aaron Rodgers play this season in 2025 is in Pittsburgh. I think it's only a matter of time before we see this come to fruition. Both sides need each other. You know, we can debate back and forth whether or not this move benefits the Steelers, but the reality is this. Aaron Rodgers, he may be sort of half committing to the idea of playing again, but we all know he's going to play again. He doesn't want to end his career the way that it did with the New York Jets last season, one of the worst teams in the NFL. He's a four-time MVP. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He wants to end it in a respectful manner. Every great player does, regardless of how you feel about Aaron. Like I said a couple weeks prior, he's still a quality quarterback. He may not be the MVP that he was a few years ago, but at his best, is he one of the league's top half quarterbacks? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. He still takes tremendous care of the football, and that arm, it hasn't lost any zip whatsoever. He's lost mobility with age, but he hasn't lost any of that arm that's made him such a great quarterback over the years. So, here's the bottom line. The Steelers, they are in a tough division. Arguably the best in the NFL. You have two teams there, the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, who appear to be surefire locks to make it to the playoffs this season. They're definitely above the Pittsburgh Steelers on the pecking order as far as offseason power rankings are concerned. You look at this team, it looks different from last year. They lost some key pieces. Obviously, it's no secret they lost their top wide receiver, traded him over to Dallas and George Pickens. Okay, they got DK Metcalf though. They lost Najee Harris. They have Jalen Warren. They brought in Robert Woods. They have Calvin Austin. Again, there's been a lot said about this roster. It doesn't look all that impressive on paper, but they still have a top 10 defense. That's a staple of the Mike Tomlin era. He always has a top defense. That's what keeps them in games. That's what makes them an annual playoff contender. There's a reason why he's never finished below 500. Mike Tomlin's one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's always going to get the very best out of his roster. You look at this team, obviously they made it to the playoffs over the past couple of years with very average quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph, a career backup who's now back into the fold and is the starter in OTAs right now, and Russell Wilson last year. If this match does come to fruition, like most people expect with Aaron Rodgers landing in Pittsburgh, there's one specific area where they drastically need improvement. They've been just fine on the turnover margin over the past 2 years. That's something that Mason did well in 2023 during his time as the starter at the end of the season, and what Russell Wilson did well during the 2024 season. He did that well with the Denver Broncos in 2023. As far as interceptions are concerned, he took good care of the football. But the bottom line is, the Steelers ranked top 3 in turnover margin in the past 2 years. However, their red zone percentage on offense over the past couple of years have been absolutely abysmal. Last season, they ranked 29th in red zone TD percentage. In 2023, they ranked 27th. With Aaron Rodgers, okay, who doesn't turn over the ball in the red zone, takes tremendous care of the football in the red zone, they should be drastically improved in that department at the very least. Again, we can debate, we can go back and forth as far as what their ceiling is. I don't think their ceiling is very high with Aaron Rodgers this season as the quarterback, but the Steelers kind of backed themselves into this corner where they were stubborn. They didn't draft a future franchise quarterback in the 2025 draft. They didn't address the quarterback position through free agency, through trade, and so forth. I know some people have been pitching the idea of Kirk Cousins to Pittsburgh. I think that's honestly worse than Aaron Rodgers, considering Kirk Cousins' struggles last year, and he's never been a quarterback at the level of Aaron Rodgers. But again, this is a match that makes sense for both sides. Aaron Rodgers wants to end his career in a respectful manner. He can do so in Pittsburgh, where he does have the opportunity to clinch a playoff berth, maybe even steal a playoff win. And the Steelers, they desperately need a true starting quarterback. As much as I like Mason Rudolph, very good spot starter. Seems like teammates love him. has a lot of resilience. He battled through a lot in Pittsburgh over his time with the Steelers, and he ended it very well in 2023 before he left for Tennessee for 1 year. But he's not a full 17-game season starter. He's just not. Expect this move to happen sooner rather than later at some point. I know the Steelers are going through their OTAs, but you know how Aaron is. He likes to make people wait. He wants to be wanted. He missed mandatory minicamp with the Jets last year. So whenever that is, expect Aaron Rodgers to be in a Steelers uniform before the start of the season. As an added bonus for you guys, I know this is an NFL show, but as an added bonus for you guys, I had the opportunity to speak with one of the top wide receivers and young players in college football in the Alabama Crimson Tide's Ryan Williams. Ryan obviously had an amazing freshman season as a 17-year-old, as an early enrollee at Alabama, posted almost 900 receiving yards, posted 8 touchdowns, had a heck of a season, was named to the freshman All-SEC team, garnered numerous accolades. Had the opportunity to speak to him about being named the cover athlete along with Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith for the upcoming NCAA College Football 26 game that will be released this summer. Check it out. Hey, what's up, Ryan? How's it going, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing, DJ?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah. So I'm glad to finally speak to you today, man. I know there's a lot of big news for you. Obviously, the announcement of the EA cover athlete, you and Jeremiah Smith. All right, man. Let's go over because this is the big news. Like I said, the EA cover athlete deal. Why don't you talk about that?
I got the opportunity to, represent my last name, my school, my state, as a cover athlete, and it's one of those moments where words can't even describe it. It's so exciting, so surreal that I mean, I was just smiling the entire time, and I'm even smiling now just thinking about it. You kind of get chills, even like wrapping my head around even being a part of something like that just because I actually just got off the phone with my receiver coach and he was like, you do realize like you're gonna be in Walmart, you're gonna be in Target, like you're in people's houses all over the world, like anybody that plays the game, like they have to see your face. And I thought about it and I was like, dang, that's crazy. And it's a blessing, and I'm just super excited and thankful.
Yeah, obviously, like you're saying, you're super excited. I mean, how did you find out about the news? Like, how did you react?
Well, I was chilling. I was in the comfort of my home, and with my family members, my friends, we were all just chilling, and I get a text message, and it was like, are you a cover athlete? It was like, are you gonna accept it? I'm like, what? Like, is that even a question? I'm like, where are we at? Just send the flight right now. I'm on the way. So, it was just a bunch of excitement. Everybody around me, like my mom, she understands football because I've been playing it a long time. But like she's just happy for me. Everything I do, she's just happy for me. Like if she was around, like if she's seeing excitement on my face, she'll start screaming because that's her natural reaction. Just so I mean everybody around me just was shouting, screaming, because I mean it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I definitely understand that. So it's a crazy feeling. It is.
So it's safe to say, like, even you were surprised when you got that call, right?
It was like it was definitely I was surprised, but it was one of those moments like the work has finally like, paid off because after this past season, like I had in my eyes I had a good season, and a lot of people agree with that. But I feel like you always harder on yourself, so like I left some things out on the table, and then like I would just automatically, like as soon as the season ended, I'm like, what can I do to make this upcoming season? Like I'm not even thinking about like the external things, and it's like being a first team All American, being, just those type of things. And whenever I got the text about being a cover athlete, it was like, whoa, like was it that good? So, I can only imagine with all the work that I've put in this off season, what this season will be like.
As you can tell, guys, Ryan Williams, heck of a personality, very mature kid, wise beyond his years. He also has a podcast going on, which you can also check out. But high expectations for Ryan Williams entering his sophomore year. Obviously, the Alabama Crimson Tide had a tough year last year. I think they finished with 4 losses, lost their bowl game, but expect them to turn things around this year. Ryan Williams, obviously, one of the candidates for the Heisman Trophy this season. I expect him, obviously, I think everybody expects him to better his numbers from last year. Those numbers were already good. Expect him to be even better this year. And he just think about this. He's only 18 years old. He's already one of the best players in college football. So definitely one of the names to watch during the college football season in 2025. That wraps up this week's edition for RG Weekly. As I said before, follow us at the RG Media 1 on YouTube. Until next time, I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.